my gosh, I just finished episode 6 of Yellowjackets season 3. We're gonna talk about it. The ending of that episode was wild. This episode was my favorite of the season so far. A whole lot happens in this episode, and like poor Ben. So we open the episode, Ben has been stuck in like the animal pen area for a long time. You can see like the passage of time. He is begging for them to kill him, but they're keeping Ben alive because they think he's like the way home. Natalie is really struggling with this. You can tell like they have like a really close bond. He just keeps begging her to please let him die. And eventually he stops eating. And so Natalie's like, you know what, this is too hard. Other people can take this chore. Misty kind of trying to take over, force feeding him. He's on a hunger strike. He's just miserable. And Natalie can see that. All the girls can see how miserable he is. They're just keeping him alive. I think most of them are questioning that decision. They're just holding on to any sort of hope because the winter is coming. It's not looking good. The adult timeline, Misty is still searching for answers about Lottie's death. She is doing some digging and she finds, thanks to Walter, some clues in Lottie's trash. Lottie's trash leads her to a restaurant. Misty runs into Lisa at the end of the episode. Lisa kind of fills her in saying, hey, before Lottie died, she gave me $50K, said sorry, but I did see Thaisa and Lottie talking the day of her death. Misty's like, I don't know about that, but we'll get into the whole Thaisa of it all. This episode kind of proved that Thaisa is getting kind of like pushed out by the other Ty. We see Van get a phone call on a phone that's not plugged in. She answers it and it's Ty asking for help. I go back and forth on Yellowjackets, like, is it supernatural? Is it just like everyone has lead poisoning or something? But no, this made me think like, oh, supernatural element. Ty is calling for help. And Van is now understanding like, oh, the real Thaisa is gone. And she's asking for help and what's going on? The other Ty is taken over. There's this scene when they're in the bed. Thaisa wakes up from her sleep. You can tell it's the real Thaisa because she's asking for help. And all of a sudden, it just clicks off and other Ty takes over. So Van very well knows something's wrong with Ty. Now that we know that Thaisa and Lottie met right before Lottie died, it's leading you to believe that maybe the other Ty had something to do with the murder. At the beginning of the episode, we see Shauna kind of let Jeff and Callie know, hey, Lottie is dead. And Callie finally lets her know, hey, by the way, I got this tape that had your name on it. I can't play it, don't know what's on it, but it might have something to do with Lottie's death. Here you go. So just knowing that the tape is there, Shauna kind of is like, yep, my fears were valid. A bunch of weird stuff is happening and someone's after me. So let's get away from the house for a while, y'all. She takes Jeff and Callie, they go stay somewhere else, and she calls Van up because she knows Van, if anyone has like a way to play this tape, it's Van. And of course, Van's like, yep, I gotcha. So she meets up with Van and Thaisa later on in the episode. Callie really wants to know what's going on, so she sticks her phone in Shauna's purse, recording. Later on, Shauna finds the phone and has some choice words for Callie. So the one thing that really bothered me about this whole episode was we hear the beginning and the end of the tape. We don't know what's on the tape, but it does really sound like someone has recorded a good chunk of something terrible that happened while they were in the wilderness. Shauna, Thaisa, and Van listen to the tape. Obviously, they're freaked out. Something terrible happened on that tape. I guess maybe we'll find out later. I wanted to know what was on the tape. They go their separate ways, and Shauna goes back to the hotel to confront Callie for recording their conversation. Shauna thought she deleted the conversation, but of course, Callie went into the recently deleted folder and got the recording back. I guess Shauna doesn't know about that. Unfortunate for her. Callie kind of just lets Shauna know, hey, like, I just want to be close to you. I want to know what's going on. Shauna's like, no way. You can't know what we did. But I guess Callie's going to find out now, and hopefully we find out too. I think the hardest part of this episode was just seeing Nat struggle with Coach Ben, because like clearly she doesn't want him to see him suffer. Ben is suffering. He's begging her to please kill him. She is struggling with what's right to do, what's wrong. One thing I really liked about this episode is we see Travis and Natalie interact when we haven't really gotten that the whole season. Natalie lets him know, like, I gotta do it. I can't let him suffer anymore. It's just not right. Travis offers to help, but she just tells him, just go. I'm going to take care of it. He kind of lets her know, like, hey, no one's going to forgive you for doing this. She accepts it. She just knows what's right and what's wrong. And she finally visits Ben in the evening and puts an end to his misery. and he's very thankful, and Coach Ben is gone. I felt really terrible for Misty this whole episode because she is heartbroken. Obviously, she loved Ben. She had a big crush on him. I think she's felt like she's felt him multiple times this whole season. So just seeing her reaction to his death is really sad. She shares that kiss with him at the end. You know, that was interesting. Just how traumatizing is this for Misty and Natalie? Mainly for Natalie. But then at the end of the episode, obviously, Misty is extremely upset with Natalie. All the girls are extremely upset with Natalie. Lottie decides to take away the leadership from Natalie and give it to Shauna. Shauna is now in charge, and they tell Natalie, you know, your punishment is basically to prepare Ben's body. We are going to eat him. So, poor Natalie has to do that. In this episode, she seems like she's doing a little bit better. She is kind of in her own way helping Natalie with the task. She seems to, I don't know, we see her and Melissa kind of coming in and out of the shelter, and they seem like they're doing okay, but Melissa seems like she's really way more into this than Shauna is. So I don't know. But Van and Taissa kind of make comments about Shauna and how well she's doing. So we see Shauna get control of the group. At the end of this episode, the most shocking thing happens. They have just consumed Coach Ben. They are dancing around this fire. They're singing around the fire. Lottie is having a moment, and then all of a sudden they look over, and there's just two campers just standing right there, watching them, going, hello? And then they look over and they see what's left of Coach Ben. So that's not a good thing. Now we're to understand, based on the preview for next week, they're not going to let these campers go because they are now aware of what they've done. It kind of leads me to believe that whatever's on that tape might be them doing something to these campers. Are these campers their way out of here? Was Ben the way home because his death has led them to encounter these two strangers? I don't know, but that ending was quite shocking. I'm very interested to see what happens next episode. This was quite the episode with a lot of twists and turns.